All right, guys, here we go. Storyboard number 2. I'm assuming I'm saying number 2. I'm assuming I'm going to have the other one done before this one to launch, but I actually just realized maybe this one will get done filming first. Who knows? So here we go, guys. Storyboard number 2. So we're going to separate the top. We're going to separate the bottom. Comes apart just like this. Take the paper out. We do not need that. We are going to make this into a beautiful glowing snow globe. I'm going to set these off to the side, the bottoms and the tops. All right, so now we're going to be working with this. Actually, we're going to set that one off to the side too because we do not need it right now. We're going to mainly work with this. If you don't know how to prep a cup, guys, jump on my tutorial channel down here at the bottom. Just click on Little Lee and Rose. It will take you to my entire channel. Scroll back until you find the how to prep a cup and go ahead and follow that tutorial. What we're basically going to do is we're going to tape off the threads of this. We're going to also tape off the rim around here, and then we're going to work with the center here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. We're going to be using glow and white spray paint in the next step. So I will set that off to the side and we'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, you can see here that we have the cup painted white, a full base coat. It's probably got about 3 or 4 layers of base. I do them very, very thin so we don't get drips. Then I also coated in about 4 layers of this 2X glow spray. This is hard to find, guys, so I'm going to leave a link for it under this tutorial. Just do the read more drop down menu and the link to get this will be there. This is my favorite glow product. I love the glow powders as well and the glow Michaels, but this one, when you want all over coverage of glow, this one is perfect. And you want the 2X. It's a little pricey, but it makes the most beautiful glow, and you will see that with this cup. All right, so I'm going to get this one set up. We are all ready. This one's already coated and painted. We're going to do the hang method. As you always see, I always mix too much because I'm doing more than one project at a time. This is part A and part B of the epoxy mixed together. In a little mixing cup. I stirred it vigorously. I don't worry about bubbles because when you're doing the hang method, you shouldn't get any bubbles because it should be so thin that bubbles cannot exist. So that being said, I'm just going to dip my finger in there. You cannot use a silicone brush for this one, guys, because you got to move the epoxy too much. And I'm just going to rub it on there like you've seen me do in all my other hang methods. And we're going to work it around. It should be thinner than a piece of paper, guys. Very thin. You're basically just putting a protective coat over the glow spray so that when we add our decals and then remove our decals, it doesn't take away the paint and the glow spray with it. There we go. It'll probably take just about as much epoxy as I have on here. 2 little dips of my finger. Again, it should be very thin. If it's easy to move the epoxy around, you're using too much. You should have to work to move that epoxy. I'm pushing really, really firmly. If you could see my knuckles underneath this glove, you would see I'm pressing very, very firmly onto the cup. And moving that epoxy around. All right, and just like that. Oh, there's one little spot. You can tell if there's epoxy there, guys, because if there's epoxy in that spot, it's kind of slippery. If you hit a spot that does not have epoxy, it will all of a sudden stop being slippery. It gets harder and rougher for your finger to slide around. And that's how you know there's no epoxy slippery spot there. So I'm just going through it, making sure there's one good coat. All right, so there we go. We got that coat. We're gonna let this sit we're probably gonna do it about 5 hours. We're gonna add our second coat. 5 hours, this should be set up enough for us to add the second layer, nice and thin. It'll be even more difficult to add that second layer, but that is okay. We got a plan. There's a little epoxy right there. We don't want that there. All right, guys, so we will be back. We have a plan, and we're going to execute it. Here we go. All right, guys, here we go. This one was going to originally be my fun unicorn fart cup, but I just kind of realized that it's coming up on Halloween, and I haven't done any of I did my fall tumbler for you guys, but I haven't done any, like, creepy or Halloween-y themed ones. So we are going to do a zombie cup instead of a unicorn cup. So I have this really fun decal printed out. We've got the glow in the dark underneath with the 2 layers of hang method epoxy over the top. Then we are going to lay down, this is our zombie outbreak. We're going to lay down our decal. Okay, there. Oh, we left an S behind. We took an S with us, I guess. Didn't leave it behind. Okay, perfect. There we go. And we're going to push this off to the side. Then we've got our zombie hands. We are going to put around this cup. We'll just do one at a time. Rubbing it down, making sure it sticks. Try not to rub too hard because I don't want to accidentally get the transfer paper stuck down so hard that it lifts away the hang method layer of the paint. I mean the epoxy, because it is epoxy, but it's a very, very thin layer, and so I don't want it to. It will, if you get this stuff stuck down just too darn hard, it will lift the epoxy with it. So that's why you see I'm not over rubbing this one. I'm just rubbing it enough to leave the decal behind. Because we do get that question a lot in the group, in the Facebook group, guys, is I put this epoxy, it has a layer of epoxy, but the epoxy peeled. So if you leave these decals on for too many days or too long, it gets really, really stuck down and you won't be able to remove them. Or when it does, it peels up from behind. So that's, again, why I'm just doing this very, very carefully. We're going to work through this process very quickly. We're going to paint it, then we're going to pull the decals, and then we're going to epoxy it. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to spray paint over the top of this. And then we actually are going to have the glow come through. All right, guys, so here we go. All right, guys, so there we go. I was actually painting this, and I think my brain fell asleep, and I accidentally let go of the entire thing, and it fell on the ground, and you can see kind of where it stuck to I had a trash bag down. I'm such a ding-dong, and it got all this, it kind of got messed up. But this is not for an order, guys. I'm going to keep this one as my Halloween cup. So I'm not super worried about it. Plus, once you get it inside with the water and the oils and all that, you won't even see all the little flubs. Plus, like I said, if this was for a customer order, I would be redoing it, but it's for me, so I'm not too concerned. But I want to show you, I decided to do like a little bit of an ombre with the spray paint at the bottom. I'm not going to add any glitter to this one. This is going to be one of my non-glitter cups. So here we go. We're going to let this dry and we'll be back. Okay, so now we have the cup and it's ready to go. It's spray painted and it's dried, so we are gonna go ahead and start weeding it and taking off all these little bits so that we reveal the glow in the dark behind. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on high speed because you guys don't need to tediously watch me remove all these, but you might wanna see the technique. So I'm gonna do it on high speed. It'll be a nice quick show and tell of how I'm gonna remove these, and you guys will be right back, all right? See you soon. All right, guys, here it is. It's super cool. I'm going to set us up real quick, and I will show you this in the dark so you can see the glow feature. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to turn off the lights. Oh, is that not super cool? This 2X spray paint is amazing. You can see the word super clear because it's so bright. I'm laughing because you can see on my mirror where I got some spray paint on my light. But there she is. All right, guys, we'll keep on moving. Okay, guys, sorry, the light is going to be a little blown out on this because I'm working on the black matte. So we've got this cup now to get these really cool, like, wet ripples that I actually liked the way it looked, so we kept going with it. I had to add a little extra epoxy to get the drippy look. I think it's going to look really, really cool inside the snow globe. But what we're gonna do now, because we have to use a little extra epoxy on our hang method, a little bit dripped down inside here. So I'm just going in with my Drill Master tool. Sorry, it's coming loose. This is a Drill Master. This thing is a lifesaver when it comes to doing repairs on any of your tumblers. I'm obsessed. I use it almost every day. Comes with a bunch of different heads and things. Whoops. Sorry, I don't have very strong hands. It's hard for me to screw it down and get it tight. I should have some needle nose pliers sitting here to help me. But what I'm just going down in is I can see where the epoxy pooled up. Sorry guys, I know that is not pleasant to listen to. All right, so you can see that's all the epoxy. I am wearing a mask. We don't want to be breathing in any of this dust, not dusk. So now this lid should fit right in. I don't want to push because I don't want to get stuck, but this should pop right into place right there, which it will when I press. So now I'm just going to take this and get it washed and prepped. Like I said, if you have a hard time getting this flush and inside there, it's probably because a little epoxy or something has built up in there. Now this one, I completely took the little rubber. There's like a little rubber bunting, little rubber stopper or whatever you want to call it down in there. That keeps it from leaking. But what we do with this cup, it won't leak anyways. So I went ahead and removed that. And that makes it a little easier to work with as well. I don't always remove it. This one, I just happen to be able to easily grab it and pull it out. So I went ahead and did it. But it's neither here nor there. It doesn't seem to affect the cup whether it's in there or not. So like I said, this one was a little wrinkly and weird. So I just went ahead and took it out. So there you go. We're just going to go wash this with soap and water. You can see there's a little paint built up here. I'm scraping it off. I'm going to wash this with soap and water, let it completely dry, and we'll be on to the next step. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Here we go. This is the fun part. All right, so now we're gonna squish and squish and squish and work and work and work. I'm gonna have my baby wipes ready to go. You can see my baby wipes are all covered in glitter because we'll need these to clean the outside. I'm gonna have my paper towels ready to go. This can get real messy real fast. So we've got our epoxy over here. We're gonna seal the glass down to the epoxy now, down onto the cup. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to stir this up. I'm already wearing my chemical mask and my nitrile gloves, guys. This is epoxy. Same thing that we used here on this, mixing part A and B. We are going to mix this up really, really well. I stir it vigorously. I don't worry about bubbles. You're not going to be able to see this. Now, if you were working with a color really other than black, you could tint your epoxy to match whatever this is down here. But because this is black, for some reason, black is the one that does not show this. So you can leave it clear. It does not have to be changed in any way. Then what we're going to do is we're working on our work mat, guys, because we're going to probably be a little bit messy on this step. So we're just going to take our epoxy and we're going to take our little stir stick and we're going to drip the epoxy down into the trough. It's probably going to get a little bit everywhere. It's going to get on the outside and the sides. We will clean that up when we're done. Really what we want to focus on is getting this epoxy down inside. But like I said, it'll kind of go everywhere. That's okay. We're going to wipe it all up. For now, we're just dripping this epoxy down in. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top of the line, guys, because you have to have room to be able to fit your cup down in there, the clear part. So you want to have some space, but you want to have the trough also quite full. It's kind of like a halfway to the top mark. Just keep drizzling it in there, dripping it in. You can use those little squeezy like eyedroppers, like the one-time throwaway eyedroppers. Those work really, really well. Of course, I don't have any. I just used them all, and I
too lazy to drive all the way to Hobby Lobby because I don't have an hour or 4, because every time I go in Hobby Lobby I spend $500 and 4 hours of my life. So I have not gone in to buy more of the little sticks. But this works. It's just a mess. It's handy if you have those on hand. They work great, but if you don't have them, this works too. Just drizzling it in there. Sorry, this is the tedious, boring part, guys. All right, so now it's in there. We have a little left over. That's okay because I'm working on buttons today. So I will go use that on the button when we are finished. Okay, so first, I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to set this off to the side on my silicone mat over here. I'm going to take my paper towel, holding the cup level so I don't pour that epoxy out. I'm just going to wipe the extra. This is why I said it does not matter, guys. You can get it everywhere. We're just wiping the extra off, letting it just stay pooled up on that little trough. I don't know, can you guys see in there? The liquid, there you go. Can you see all that epoxy that's built up in there? We're just going to clean up our workstation. I love these workstations. It's a little paper towel action here. You can use baby wipes as well. I use the baby wipes when I can't get the paper towels to work right, to wipe up enough. Okay, so now comes the difficult part. Where's my piece of wood? Okay. I just want this as a flat surface. I'm going to put it underneath here. You're now going to take this and make sure there's no furs or fuzzies or bumps or anything stuck to your cup. There's a little white fuzzy stuck there. Make sure it's ready to go, because once you put this on, guys, you are done with that portion. So I put this on. You see I put the piece of wood underneath so I have something to press against. And we press it down until it clicks into place. Perfect. Now it's in place. So you can see in a couple of spots a little epoxy squished out. That's fine. We actually kind of want that. We're going to slide it around. That tells you that you had plenty of epoxy and you're going to have a good seal because it came all the way to the top. And I can actually see down in there and I can see the epoxy. And so I know I'm going to have a really good seal on this cup. All right, so there we go. So now we're going to leave this cup. I can't turn it upside down, guys. This is the best view you're going to get. Because if I turn it down, the epoxy moves. So we're going to let this cup sit and cure for 72 hours, guys. I do not play around with uncured epoxy on this type of cup. I let it sit for 72 hours. That way we know it is fully cured and will not be affected by the water in its curing status. If you try to add your liquids, your oils and your waters and your glitters and all your whatever you're putting in here, before the 72-hour mark, it can damage and counteract your epoxy down in there because the epoxy is not fully cured. So this will take in about 3 days. We're going to come back and we're going to work on this one. All right, guys, so we'll see you soon. So now we're here at this point, guys. I've got my chemical mask on already. This one is going to be a little bit different because we're bringing the bubble up higher and we're bringing the water level all the way to the edge right here of the edge of this. We can't put epoxy down in the threads right here like we do on the other one. So what we're going to do in this one, because this is just going to be in the water, this is actually going to get submerged in these threads. So what we're going to do is a little bit different on this one. We're going to take our 220 grit. We're actually going to sand very gently. We're basically just going to rough up the inside edge of this. Not like hardcore. We're literally just going to rub it and scratch that surface. You can see I'm not going back and forth. I'm not going crazy with my sanding. I'm just basically roughing the surface just a smidge. I'm going to make sure my little plug came out. You don't want to put that back in. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dust off that, make sure there's nothing on there. And I'm just going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to run it around the outside one time. And that's what that's going to do, is give it some really, really good grip onto the surface of that outer lip, getting any dust off, any moisture. Same for in the ring, any dust, any moisture. Okay, now we've got our epoxy. I've already got my chemical mask on, guys. I'm going to put on my gloves. Sorry, you can hear one of my turners running next to me. I've got another tutorial we're filming at the same time. Well, I've got like 8 tutorials I'm filming, but that one is going right next to me. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to bring in our epoxy. This is just a tiny bit of epoxy. I haven't mixed it yet. This is AB. We're going to go ahead and mix it up. This was just an eyeball. I'm really good at it, but you can use a syringe to measure your tiny, tiny parts. I haven't had a sticky spot in over a year, so I'm pretty darn good at eyeballing now. Because this uses such a small amount, we don't need a huge, huge, huge thing. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to do the same as on the other video, and I'm just going to drizzle it along this outside edge. And this epoxy is what's going to give us our seal along the outside. Now, I've had a lot of questions about this. Withstanding water, because we are told to tell our clients not to soak their cups. There is a very big difference. You don't soak the cup because generally when you're soaking dishes, it's in hot water. And if you're using like a clear cast or Alumilite or Promarine, they have a very low heat tolerance, guys. And that is why you can't soak the cup, because the hot water will affect the durability of that cup. But this is not hot liquid, guys. This is not warm liquid or hot liquid. This cup can't be left in the hot cart either, just like any of our other tumblers can't. But this is a really high heat-resistant epoxy that I'm using. So even if this soaked in hot water, this one has a 500-degree hot water rating, heat rating. But the water will not affect this, guys. They make all kinds of things that be submerged in it with this type of epoxy. Once it's cured, that's why we leave it for 72 hours. Also, when we put it, I say leave it for 72 hours before you tip it so the liquid comes into a contact with it. I say that because you want it to be completely cured. So that's why this one sat for 3 days before we flipped it over and added this liquid. Now, this epoxy is fully cured at over 72 hours. So it is done. It is solid. This liquid in here will not affect that epoxy that we sealed that top layer with. Now we've got the bottom layer, and now we're going to put the epoxy, we put it on that outside rim, we're going to put this lid down on it, and then we're going to leave it in this direction for 72 hours before we do anything else. All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and put the bottom on. I've got to actually stop filming because I'm going to have to go straight down from the top because it's off center a little. I've got to use a lot of pressure. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to show that on film. Let me see. Okay, we're going to press. Oh gosh. Okay, sorry guys. We gotta really press and twist. Sorry, it's off center, guys. But I'm gonna force it on there. It's fine. It'll work. I'm just gonna be the boss. Okay. I'm wiping all the extra epoxy that might have dripped. Okay. Now, I can't show this to you guys because I can't turn it sideways for 72 hours. So we will be back. I got that bottom on. It is sealed down on there. The sand marks should grip onto that epoxy really, really, really hard. That's why we sand our cups when we start our base. I can't wait to tip it over. So excited. Somebody's already claimed this cup, guys. They saw it before it was even finished. And they already have dibsies. Dibsies, dibsies. But they might get it after Halloween, because I might have to use it for Halloween. We'll be right back, guys, and we'll show you we'll flip it over and we'll show you the glow result and the blood. It'll be super fun. All right, guys, it's been about 24 hours. I have my gloves on already. I'm gonna use some alcohol. I'm gonna be using some Omni Stick. I'm gonna show you how to, I didn't show you this in the last tutorial, and I am a little concerned about this one. Just because it was off kilter just a little bit. I don't think it's going to leak because of the epoxy, with the epoxy in there, but just in case, like I said, this one is, I'm going to do my little backdoor extra little trick. So what you want to do is get a silicone-based glue. This is called Omni Stick, but any silicone glue will work. Grab a toothpick, and here we go. And then we're going to take
the toothpick, well, we're gonna take the toothpick and kind of get some on there. And we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it along this outer edge. This is just gonna be one extra little seal. Sorry, I tipped it to the side. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing without actually tipping this because I don't want the, I don't want anything leaking out. So pretty much we're making a big mess, but we're gonna clean it up, so don't worry. We're really just kind of working this down into that crack. And we can kind of use the glue that's already here and just smear it around and bring it around and work it into that crack. I may end up showing you guys how to completely, I don't want to give any promises. Never mind. I'm not giving away secrets, Becca. Becca is one of my moderators. She is the vice president of Lily and Rose, and she hates it when I give away all of our secrets. Just kidding. She just gives me a hard time. I reveal a lot of stuff in our Facebook group, guys, about what Lily and Rose is doing in the future. She just gives me a hard time. I love sharing with you guys. I love telling my secrets. Okay, so now we've got a big mess, but if it's a big mess means a little mess down the road. So the big mess means we've got this stuff smooshed into that crack. Now we're gonna take our paper towel. First, I'm gonna wipe as much as I can with paper towel. This is a paper towel. So frugal. This is the one I used yesterday for the epoxy. So we're gonna take this one. We're gonna wipe off as much of the silicone as we can, just by our hands, and then we're gonna use some rubbing alcohol and clean some off. So we're just wiping some of that glue away. You want to do it quickly. If it dries, you're in trouble. So we're just rubbing it off with the rubbing alcohol. All right, and like that, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna let it sit. That's just to give one extra layer to help try to barricade in that liquid inside the cup. Whoops. And we're gonna give that another, that dries pretty quick, but I still can't flip the whole thing over to show you guys for another 72 hours. So we'll be back, well, sorry, another 48 hours. We'll see you in 48 hours. Okay, guys, so we just did the silicone glue. Well, probably about an hour ago. And I just can't, I love this cup. I keep thinking about this cup. And I know that somebody claimed it and has dibs on it already, but I think I'm gonna keep it for myself because it's almost Halloween. I wanna carry this cup around on Halloween. I want this cup. I'm a zombie freak, you guys. I love zombies. I call the mosquitoes that we have here at our house the Z Nation mosquitoes because they're so stinking fast. You can't even kill them. They move so fast. So that's how much I love zombies. I named our mosquitoes after Z Nation. So I'm gonna peel the bottom off. I'm gonna show you how to glitter it. Because if I'm gonna keep, I decided if I'm gonna keep this for my cup self, I want it to be my cup. So I'm gonna show you how to remove the bottom. I just take my little hook and I hooked it under this foam because I'm not gonna use a foam because I'm gonna glitter this cup. Yes. So I'm gonna show you how to glitter this cup, mainly because I just decided halfway through this cup that I want it because it's Halloween. If it wasn't Halloween, I probably wouldn't be keeping it. I would be letting my friend have it, but sorry, Dory, you don't get this cup. I'll have to make you another one, or you can have it after Halloween, but it's going to be glittered. So I just get my little hook underneath and I lift it and then I peel it. That little mini middle pieces being stubborn. But I also have a spatula just to push it off. It's just sticky, guys. So however you want to get the sticky off. It's nothing fancy. I'm going to sand this a little bit, clean it. I will probably clean it with rubbing alcohol, maybe acetone, just on this top part to get all the sticky stuff off, then wash it after the 72 hours have passed. So we can't work on this anymore other than just removing this, guys, and cleaning this off for another 48 hours because that epoxy needs to cure inside this seal. Technically, we probably could go ahead and start earlier than 48 hours since we're going to add more epoxy. But I'm always better safe than sorry. The more you try to rush your projects, the more likely you are to screw up a project. And I've already got like 5 days into this cup, 6 days into this cup, probably even more than that, with all the detail work. And so I don't want to ruin the cup. So we're going to take our time. So I'm going to get just a tiny bit of acetone, clean that off. Then we're going to let this set for another 48 hours. We'll see you guys soon, and we'll glitter this sucker. Here we go, guys. This cup, you can see now it is leak proof. Nothing's coming out. It would be very easy to see if anything was coming out of there. It would be red. I didn't end up finishing cleaning it up because I wasn't worried about it because I know we're going to glitter it. And I think I'm going to put the glitter, black and red glitter here and black and red glitter up here on our rims. We're going to leave the middle the same, and then we're just going to have the sparkly and the sparkly. Again, designing this for myself, guys, you do not have to do this step, but this is actually how I can show you if you are having a leaking problem, you can put the silicone glue down and then epoxy over the top. So we're going to tape off what we don't want to get epoxy and glitter on with electrical tape. No, sorry, this is painter's tape. I was going to use electrical tape, but this is nice and thick, so this is going to serve our purpose a little better. So I want the glitter to come up just to the bottom of these zombies' hands. So I'm going to lay my sticker down. Whoop. Sorry, that's another tutorial trying to peek in here. I'm going to lay my tape down. Sorry, took a big piece of tape and it's getting a little crazy on me. I'm just going to make sure as we move it around the cup, because the cup is beveled. I mean, the cup is a little wonky because it wants to go, sorry, my brain is focusing and I can't talk and focus at the same time. Blonde moment, but I had to like keep working the tape down to keep it level because of the shape of the cup. It doesn't want to go around level. Now that is why I usually use electrical tape, because electrical tape you can kind of work and bend and flex it a little. But like I said, I'm trying to get more coverage on this cup. So you can see I'm just kind of pushing it up and kind of forcing it where I want to go. And then we're going to smooth out all the kinks. But if you want to make your life easy, use electrical tape. Plus, I can never find half my tools because my kids lately have just wanted to be out here with mommy. And if it's not dangerous, I let them play with it. And so my stir sticks and my tapes and my cups and all that stuff just goes missing because they just want to play with it like mommy. They pretend like they're mommy. So now we're just going to be taping off this whole middle section. We want to bring this down on this side just under the lip. So you can see I'm bringing it down about 1/8 of an inch below where it meets the metal. And that way we are really extra sealing this one in with the glitter and the epoxy. Even though it doesn't really need to be done, I just want to make sure I show you guys a technique. And because you might get somebody who actually wants a cup that is partially glittered on the outside. And this is kind of a good way to show you guys that. Whoop. There we go. Okay. We're going to cover that a little bit. All right, so now we're just going to press that down, make sure it's down there real good along these edges. And that's smooth. That looks good. Sorry, just going to be a stickler for this one. This line is not straight, so we're just going to do that to make it straight. I basically just took a piece of tape and laid it over the part that wasn't looking straight. I can hear my microwave telling me dinner's ready. Another tiny little piece of tape. Sorry, guys. I know this is tedious to watch, but it's also good to watch. Not everything I do is paved with gold. It takes a little work here. So we're just going to do the same thing with another little piece of tape right on this little section right here. It's not quite straight. We're just going to cut it off. There we go. Perfect. It's not just good, guys. It's good enough. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beautiful handy dandy wand and I'm going to take this outside and we're going to put some adhesive spray on it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to spray paint it and then put some adhesive spray on it. So I use this. This is a copper pipe, but you can use PVC, guys. It's just got a foam noodle on it. Shove my cup on it, take it outside and paint it. We'll be right back. All right, guys, excuse my mess. You guys are seeing a little bit more of the reality of my world, like the chaos. And you're also going to probably hear the glitter machine in the background. We are packing swag and getting ready like crazy. The swag bags are going to be going out in a couple days, so we are in full prep mode for that. But we are going to finish up this cup today. This is going to be so fun. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and apply, with the hang method, we're going to go ahead and apply our glitter. I've got my syringes ready with my epoxy, with my small amounts. I've got my nitrile gloves on. I'm going to go ahead and put my chemical mask on.
Just like that. All right, guys. All right, so I've got you higher up in the air than you normally are. That way you get to really see what I am working on here. We've got our two different syringes. This has part A and part B. You can see this is part B. I labeled it. This is, you can see it's less than 1 ml because I'm only doing a tiny section up here and a tiny section at the bottom. So you do not need a full 2 mLs to cover the whole cup because we're not. We're only doing this little top portion and this top portion and this bottom portion. So we're going to go ahead and stick our epoxy in there. You can see it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. It's not even going to be 2 mLs, guys. It's just going to be enough to coat those two small spots. So we're going to stir it up real good. Scrape the sides, scrape the side of the brush, the stir stick. This is a silicone stir stick, you guys. Again, littleandrose.com. We carry these in sets of 3. They're very convenient because the epoxy will not stick to them. So you can just use them over and over and over. I was a big fan of the Dollar Tree popsicle sticks, and I still use them. But these are great because they're reusable, and so it saves, it actually, even though it's $1 here and there, it still saves because I can use them over and over. Plus, I just really like them. I think they're a really good size. All right, so there you go. You can see the little bit of epoxy on the top. That is what we're going to work with. We're going to go ahead and check the little cup and wipe off our stir stick. Now, I wipe them off. You don't have to, but usually I go and start using it again. So I go ahead and wipe it. So now we're going to work this down. All this stuff on the bottom, you guys, this is from me pulling off the little stopper on the bottom. I'm not worried about that left over because we're going to cover it with glitter. So don't overthink stuff, guys. If like this little chunky, that's not going to bother anything because you won't even see it. It will be underneath our chunky glitter that we're going to be adding. So now we've got that bottom part set. I'm now going to go along here on this top rim and make sure we get our epoxy smoothed out around there. But I definitely have enough epoxy, guys. I have more than enough, actually. It's a little too thick. I should be working harder to move it, but we'll go with what we've got. All right, so now we are fully covered. I'm clean my hand off. Okay. Now, okay. We're going to pull in our piece of parchment paper, guys. I just had my work mat down in case any of the epoxy happened to drip off. Now we're going to go ahead and apply our glitter. I'm going to keep my gloves on because I am still making contact with this epoxy on this cup. I'm going to keep my nitrile gloves on, and we're going to go ahead and sprinkle it on. Make sure it's thoroughly coated. Take our spatula, scoop it up. All right. We're going to tap it, get the excess off. Make sure it's well coated on the bottom. Give it a good peek. I'm gonna stick it over on my drying rack. I'm gonna clean up and we'll be right back. All right, so now with this, it's only been like 30 seconds. I just cleaned up real quick. So this epoxy is still wet. What we're gonna do is we're now gonna press. And what we're doing with this is just pressing all that chunky glitter down and making it go flat to the cup. This is gonna make it to where you use a lot less epoxy to cover it. Okay? Because it's sitting flat, you don't have to try to put layers and layers and layers and layers of epoxy to fit into the bumps. All right, so we're just flattening it down. Good, beautiful. All right, so now we're gonna take our tape off. We don't want the tape, we don't want anything curing with that epoxy because it will rip. If I try to pull the tape off and the epoxy is actually cured, it will pull the glitter with it. So and it'll mess up the cup. So we want to pull it now and then just retape for the next round. So we're gonna go ahead and just pull off all this tape and we'll be right back.
All right, guys, so this is what we've got so far. It's super cute. We pulled the tape off. Not cute. It's awesome because it's kind of gory. But Steven is this color if you guys are looking for this. This is on the Lily & Rose website, and this color is Steven. And so we are now going to let this cure for probably 9 to 10 hours, and then we're going to go ahead and tape this back off and add some more epoxy. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are actually in my kids' room because it's the only place in the house that has blacked out windows. I don't know if you can see the blood moving around in the dark, but you can sure see the zombie hands in the glow in the dark. And this was only in a charging light. I put it only in a light for about 10 seconds. It's super cool. I'm going to try to hold still and see if I can shake the blood and see if you can see the blood moving. It's super cool, guys. Loving it. All right, guys, we're back out here. You just saw the glow in the dark. Just trying to make it the blood to squirt around here for you guys. It's super fun. You can see the glitter just on the top and the bottom just adds to that. I am a huge zombie fan, so this will end up being a personal cup. I was going to give this to my best friend because she saw it and she wanted it, but I'm kind of obsessed, so this will probably go in my personal cup collection. Dig in the glow. I love the zombies and the blood. This is just another fun way to do a snow globe, guys. It's off the beaten path. It's just the idea of doing kind of a gruesome horror creepy cup. You have never seen me do one of those, so stay tuned because they're probably on their way. Thank you guys for hanging out today. I hope you guys learned something good on this tutorial and I gave you some good information, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.